Hello everyone! Welcome to another episode of Bible Q&A. Today we're discussing, why was God offended that David counted the people? In Genesis chapter 15 verse 5, God told Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars of the sky. Pretty cool, right? Yet, when David wanted to count the people in 2 Samuel chapter 24, Israel was punished for it. Why? Obviously, Jehovah didn't mean it literally, since there wouldn't be enough room on earth for all the Israelites, let alone everyone else. Why then was he so mad that David counted them? Well, the simple answer is that nobody paid God. In Exodus chapter 30 verse 12, every man who was counted had to pay a tax to the temple, or else there would be a plague. Given that there was a plague in 2 Samuel chapter 24, we can reasonably assume that that was the reason for the punishment. We could also question David's reasons for taking a census. It just so happens that Israelite censuses only counted the number of men who were able to go to war. Thus, by conducting one, David could figure out how many men he could conscript and how that number compared to that of his neighbors. However, none of that should have mattered in Israel's case because God decided who won any particular war. 300 men defeated a whole army of Midianites in Judges chapter 7, and the Israelites took Jericho in Joshua chapter 6 without actually fighting anyone. It didn't matter how many soldiers Israel had. This means that, even though David said, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer" in 2 Samuel chapter 22 verse 2, that principle didn't really carry over to his decision here, because the only reason he would count the people is that he thought he would be at a disadvantage if his army was small, even if God decided to help him. But let's dive even deeper. Naturally, if God told the king to fight some army, he would help him win the war. That's pretty obvious. It wouldn't matter how many men were sent out to fight the battles because Jehovah would want his side to win anyhow. However, if David wanted to fight a war on his own, then he wouldn't have such help. The size of his forces would matter. It is possible that he was planning some sort of invasion of a neighboring country and wanted to figure out how many divisions would be needed and where they would be sent. Christians should try to reduce such ambition as much as possible. As it was said in Psalms, "Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor mine eyes lofty, neither do I exercise myself in great matters, or in things too high for me." Psalms chapter 131 verse 1. We shouldn't be looking for power or money or influence because those things can cause division and strife and chaos. If you think you need that stuff, then trust that God will give it to you. David should have just sat down and said, "Who cares how big my army is? I shouldn't be fighting too many battles anyway. If Jehovah insists, then I'll go to war." He would have saved the lives of the Israelites who died in the plague, and of course less wars means less casualties on the front. Thus, in a news cycle that seems to be filled with more and more war and bloodlust, we should think to ourselves, should ambition and a desire for power be the driving forces in my life? Unless the Holy Spirit tells you otherwise, the answer is probably no. And that is where I'm going to stop with this Bible Q&A. Why was God offended that David counted the people? The Israelites likely didn't pay the tax required for a census, and David probably conducted the census because of his own ambition. Thank you for listening! Don't forget to like and subscribe!